Hello everyone and welcome to this new Rollercoin video. Today we will talk about a topic that surely interests many of you, the marketplace. If you haven't registered on Rollercoin yet, you want to take advantage of a small initial bonus, and you want to support this channel to produce new videos, consider registering using the link in the description of this video. It is absolutely not mandatory, but if you do it, it is something that costs you nothing, and for that I thank you. The marketplace was introduced in September 2022, around the time of the launch of Season 6 Magic Carnival, so it's still a relatively recent thing at the time I'm recording this video. To access the marketplace, we must click on the icon at the top of the menu. Unlike the shop, which we have already covered in a previous episode, where you can simply buy the items you need, in the marketplace you can basically do two things: buy the used items put up for sale by other players, or put up for sale yourself what that you no longer need. The first fundamental thing to know about the marketplace is related to the currency used. At least for the moment, all sales are carried out exclusively in RLTs. In other words, if you want to buy an item, you will have to pay it in RLTs, just as if you want to sell your assets, the buyer will pay you in RLTs. You cannot use other currencies for your transactions. This, of course, until the Rollercoin team introduces changes to the rules, but I seriously doubt that will ever happen. In the next episodes, we will be able to investigate why. In short, however, the picture is this. If you have RLTs in your pocket to spend, that's good. Otherwise you won't be able to buy anything but only put your items up for sale and hope that someone will buy them from you. Let's start by looking at how you can buy something. We have already said that what you find for sale here in the marketplace are the surplus items of the other players. There is no precise catalog of what you will find here. Since there are so many active players, it is reasonable to think that more or less we will always find everything we need available, unless we are looking for something particularly exotic and rare. The system helps us and allows us to apply convenient search filters. For example, an essential filter is to sort the items by increasing price, and possibly increase the number of results per page. As you can easily see, the cheapest items, which are also the most common and widespread, are the components for crafting, of which there are literally millions of pieces in circulation, and these you can see are only those offered for sale by users. Another filter that we can certainly apply is, for example, to show only the miners, and we also add that we only want those at a basic level. We are not interested in those already enhanced by other players. In this list we already have several useful information. These are numbers that we will later see in greater detail, but here you can already see the number of objects of this type that are on sale in green, and the starting price in blue, which is the price of the cheapest object among those offered for sale. As in all free markets, the law of supply and demand applies. This will already let you understand that, if there is a large number of items for sale of the same type, the price will probably tend to go down, and consequently it could be an advantageous purchase. Conversely, if there are few items available, the seller will probably be inclined to ask for a higher price. Now let's try to search among the available objects if there is a chupacabra. It is a very common miner, so it will be easy to find it. Let's scroll through the list to the page that interests us. Alternatively, if we know the name of the object we are looking for, or even just part of it, it is possible to carry out a targeted search. We'll do it together just as an example. By clicking on the item of our interest, we will have access to the purchase window, which contains a lot of useful information. In the center, we see a summary of the characteristics of the object we are examining. Being a miner, we find in particular its power and the bonus coefficient, which are the information that interests us. At the top right, we can see the total amount of items available for purchase. This is the number of entry-level chupacabra that users are listing on the marketplace right now. These miners do not all have the same price, but it is the player himself who decides how much to charge for the item he wishes to sell. The best price is the one shown below the image. And every now and then the system automatically refreshes because the market is constantly moving. A particularly advantageous item can be bought quickly, so it may no longer be available even after a few seconds. I suggest you to wait a moment before clicking on the buy button and observe how the offer behaves, to avoid having nasty surprises and spending more than you are convinced you will. Take things slowly, first observe and then act. As I said, the price you see here refers to the purchase of a single item, the cheapest one among all those available. In this table you can see what the price is for the other items. The player who sells the cheapest item will be the first to sell, and so on for the following items. Exactly the law of supply and demand. Ideally, the price is set by the market itself. An object deemed cheap will be bought quickly. Conversely, one that is too expensive will remain unsold for a long time. In the graph below we can see the trend of how the price has moved in the last period. This also helps us to understand if we are doing a good deal or if the price is distorted right now. Multiple items can be purchased in a single transaction. If we increase the quantity of objects we want to buy, as I'm doing now, the system will automatically calculate the final price, adding up what the cheapest miner costs, plus the one immediately following, and so on. For example, this function is particularly useful when we have to buy components for crafting, fans, cables and hashboards, where it doesn't make much sense to buy a single item at a time. For the other items, however, I suggest you proceed carefully. Make each purchase in safety and buy one piece at a time. Now let's try to understand if the marketplace is convenient. And I will immediately spoil the surprise with a mega spoiler. Yes, absolutely yes. Compared to the normal list prices, there are no comparisons. Currently, and I've already said it in previous episodes, the marketplace has literally killed the game economy. But let's see it together. For convenience, I open a new tab of the shop, and I go to find out how much it would cost me to buy a chupacabra in the official store. As you can see, the price of a chupacabra is 17 RLTs. Now we just saw what the market value of this miner is. Let's go back to the marketplace. You see it's less than half. Who in their right mind would ever want to buy a full-priced chupacabra? The only plausible reason would be to want to buy a large stock, more than what's available in the marketplace. But seriously, does that seem likely? Do your own analysis, now that you understand how to search for what interests you within the marketplace, and how to compare prices with official values. And beware, the same applies also and above all to special offers, weekly offers, season stores, in short, everywhere. Do your own calculations, you will discover sensational situations. I'll show you one last filter that will probably come in handy. In my case, I use it very often. You already know that one of the weekly tasks, as well as one of the season quests, consists in spending a certain amount of RLTs. Let's say, for example, that you have to complete the quest to spend 30 RLTs. A convenient system is certainly to filter only the miners, and select a range between 25 and 30 RLTs. I'm just giving an example, of course. This way you have an overview of the possible items that will allow you to complete the quest quickly, assuming that you have already spent some RLTs on little things like the merge, which you need to complete other quests, and so on. As you can see, they are all pieces that fit together. It's up to you to find your strategy to optimize your resources and above all your efforts. Now I'm going to complete a very simple purchase to show you the complete process. Remember that to buy in the market you must have RLTs in your wallet, otherwise you won't be able to do anything. Of course, you are always free to research or put your assets up for sale even if you are broke. Just as an example, we're going to buy some hashboards that always come in handy. So everyone will seem like I'm a stingy person. But in reality the procedure is exactly the same even if we wanted to buy the pepperoni miner. We enter the hashboard tab and set up the purchase of 10 pieces in a single transaction. Of course we can get the same result by making 10 single purchases. I hope you understand the mechanism. By clicking on Buy, we will be asked for further confirmation, after which our purchase will be entered and processed. Beware that the times could be longer than expected, especially in server stress situations. Don't rush, take your time and wait for all confirmation notifications. Remember that once you spend your RLTs, they are lost forever. You will not be able to get them back in any way. So pay attention to what you do. Now I'm spending 2 cents, but if you have to buy an expensive miner, you certainly don't want to throw your money away. Very well, now that we know how to buy, let's see together how to do the opposite thing, or put our items up for sale. First basic rule. If you want to sell anything, it must be in your inventory. Inventory is that section of your warehouse where unused items gather dust. In other words, to make the concept clearer, you cannot sell an item that you are actively using. For example, you cannot sell a miner that is sitting on a shelf, turned on and working. First, you will have to remove it from the rack and put it in your inventory. Look at my inventory. As you can see right now, I don't have any unused miners. This means all my miners are currently producing. I therefore have to go to my home page. Suppose I want to sell one of the few roller arcs. As in the previous example, the type of object is not important. The procedure is exactly the same. I select one of these miners and remove it from the rack. So now I will see it available in the inventory. So let's go back to the marketplace and try to sell our item. The sales window is quite similar to the one already seen for the purchase. Obviously, the purpose is the opposite. We can see in the top left box the current market prices of objects similar to ours that we are trying to sell. The closer we get to these prices, the more likely it is that our item will be bought by someone in the short term. Conversely, we can choose to put an item up for sale at a higher price, but it will most likely remain unsold for a long time. In order to somehow regulate the market, the Rollercoin team has set minimum selling prices for each item. It is not possible to go below this value. In my case, I just want to give an example, so I will put my miner up for sale at a completely non-competitive price, 2 RLTs. If we wanted to sell more items, we could set the quantity here. Here too we have the graph with the average price trend in the last period. Finally, a small commission by Rollercoin will be applied to the final price. This means that the buyer will not pay exactly 2 RLTs, but a slightly higher price, as you can see here. When we have set all the parameters according to our preferences, we can click the button and enter the sell order. If the required conditions occur, i.e. if a player is willing to pay the amount requested by us, our object will be sold and we will receive the corresponding RLTs. In the My Orders section, we see the register of all our operations within the marketplace. Here we can see the item we just put up for sale, waiting for a buyer. Purchase history shows the log of all the items we have bought. In my case, you can see that I used to buy different components in the marketplace because I need them to complete the quests. Unfortunately, a large number of them are needed, and the boxes in the season store, which we have already seen previously, are not enough. You have to do as best you can. Sales history shows all the items we have sold in the past. In my case, as you can see, I haven't sold anything yet. I think my miners are more useful at work than in the showcase. Very well, let's end our presentation as usual with some personal considerations. First of all, I again recommend the utmost attention during the operations you carry out, in particular your purchases. The marketplace, like other areas of the game, is by no means free from some small bugs. Personally, I have lost small quantities of RLTs. They have been deducted from my wallet, but I have never received the items. We're talking about small numbers. This thing hasn't caused me great damage, But it's good that you're ready to handle anomalous behavior. Don't rush things. Avoid operating in the marketplace if you see the website particularly overloaded, and always give the pages time to load, without compulsively refreshing. Personally, I do not exclude, indeed I expect, that there will be some major improvements in the marketplace in the near future. For example, the ability to enter buy and sell orders with price targets, just like any exchange works, would make things really interesting. We will make updates as soon as it happens. Another aspect that I find singular is how some users literally exploit the marketplace as a source of income, in the sense that I imagine that they spend their days, or in any case a good part of their time, making trades in the hope of obtaining easy earnings. Buy low and sell high, the simple rule of the market. Too bad that not only do I consider this strategy to be unprofitable in the Rollercoin marketplace, but I actually believe that there are much better ways to make progress. This is not the purpose of the game. Those who focus on the idea of getting rich through trade, in my opinion, lose sight of the nature of Rollercoin, which is the simulation of a mining farm, not a bazaar. Finally, I have seen around, on YouTube and other online resources, that there is a proliferation of phantom automatic bots that promise you easy passive income. I'm telling you clearly, forget it and immediately abandon the thought. They don't work, they can't work. In the best case scenario, and that says it all, you will be mercilessly banned and lose all of your in-game assets, and dishonest players deserve it. Just don't do stupid things. And so we also came to the conclusion of our episode dedicated to the marketplace. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful in some way, and see you soon for a new topic of this free-to-play Rollercoin tutorial. See you soon!